Okay, I have exactly 1:30. We will begin our School Health Advisory Council meeting. I want to let everyone know that we are currently recording. It is a new state legislative law that we post our agenda 72 hours prior to our meeting date, and we record our meeting. So we are currently recording. I would like to welcome everyone. Thank you for being a part. It is very awkward in having our meeting as Zoom, and so I want to begin by apologizing. I do have several that will participate through the meeting, and they would like that I screen share for them. So please be patient with me as I go through our PowerPoint and our screen sharing so that you can see what they are providing as a resource for you to see through our meeting. With that, I would like to share with you who all we have on our meeting. If each of you could see this on your screen, you will see that our SHAC committee has grown. We have invited many community members, parents. We have our nursing healthcare staff, our physical education, our PE teachers. We also have a representative from the Family Crisis Center in Burleson, our Kitty Corral here in Alvarado, and a representative of from Texas Department of State Health. In a ideal setting, I would have everyone introduce themselves and where they're from and what they're representing. I do hope that our next meeting will be able to be face-to-face. Due to the high number of COVID positive cases prior to yesterday, we were asked to do Zoom meetings in large groups. So one of our COVID dashboard on our website is showing that a lot of our campuses is in green now, and we will discuss that later on the agenda. But at the time the meeting was set, we were asked to go through a Zoom meeting. If there's ever a time that anyone has a question, please unmic and just ask. I do want this to be informative and also having an opportunity for you to ask questions as we go through our meeting. We will start the agenda by sharing the mission and vision statement. This has been a long time running. I'm going to move my gallery. So mission statement, the mission of Alvarado Independent School District School Health Advisory Council is to facilitate opportunities for the overall lifelong health and wellness of the Alvarado community. So as you can see, it's not just a school, an Alvarado ISD initiative, but it is for our entire community. Vision, it is the vision of Alvarado Independent School District School Health Advisory Council to ensure Alvarado becomes an emotionally and physically healthy community. And with that, we developed SHAC goals of increasing SHAC activities, obviously COVID related, increase involvement, and ensure program activities are fully developed. The roles and responsibilities of all of us as SHAC community members of the council is to attend and participate in 4 meetings throughout the year. We are to report annually or more frequently if requested to our board of trustees. We are to provide advice and recommendations with decisions pertaining to health education, physical education, nutritional services, parental involvement, staff wellness, environmental health, mental emotional wellness, and health services. As a committee, we will consult regularly with the superintendent and administration as I take what we have discussed in our meetings back to our superintendent and also share with the district leadership committee. We are to approve the district coordinated school health program. And as a committee, we are to assist and consult with health education curriculum, and then to annually report to the board in a written report by June 30th, which I do under my reports to the board. Again, if you have any questions as we're going through this, please don't hesitate to unmic. We are going to move our drug testing program up from the agenda, from the original agenda, as we do have our Director of Athletics with us today, Coach Jeff Dixon, and he is going to share with us what our current drug testing program is.
And good afternoon. Okay. A brief history in the drug testing policy. A lot of new faces on here since this was implemented years ago. And I don't have the exact year, but I'm going to say probably 13, 12 years ago, we felt the need to implement a drug testing program. And so we took it to the board, and we did. And at that time, it was high school only, and it was varsity athletes only that were initially tested. And then we had a random list of students, those who were involved in co-curricular or extracurricular activities. They were a part of a random pool that were periodically tested throughout the year. But the only group that was guaranteed a drug test were varsity athletes. And it went well. The purpose for drug testing is not so we could go say, hey, I got you. It was give them a reason not to do drugs, because they want to be in athletics. They want to be involved in extracurricular. They want to drive their car to school. So that was the intent of the policy. So years into it, here's what we found. Varsity athletes usually are juniors and seniors. So we were missing kids. By the time they became a junior and a senior, they were already using drugs. And we went through a time period where we had a few who struck out. And if you may not be familiar with the policy, but it's a 3-strike program. And you get a strike one, you have to get 5 hours of counseling, plus you're suspended for a short period of time. Strike two, more than 5 hours of counseling, and the suspension's a little bit longer. And strike three, there's a problem and you're banned from athletics. And so that, in a nutshell, that's what the policy stated. Well, we went through a period of time when we lost some kids, and that's not what we wanted. And so we felt the need not to test varsity athletes, but we wanted to test them at a younger age to catch them, to test them earlier, to give them a reason not to start using drugs. So we went to the board probably 6-7 years ago now, and we asked that instead of testing varsity athletes, that we test incoming freshman athletes or any new student athlete to Alvarado ISD. And that's kind of where we are right now. Those are the students that are guaranteed a test. We call it an initial test. So if they play baseball or volleyball or football or track or cross country, if they're freshmen or they're new to Alvarado ISD, they will be tested. Okay. That's where we are now. So when do varsity athletes get tested? They're randomly tested. All extracurricular, co-curricular are on a random list. The only ones who are initially tested are incoming freshmen or new students. So why am I here? It's been suggested that do we need to make a change again? And so no better place to take it than the SHAC committee, and maybe let it be a topic of discussion. To go back to varsity only, or to maybe include keep it as is, all freshmen, all new students involved in extracurricular, and include varsity athletes to that list, and which would be different. Now, when we started this years back, it was like $15 a drug test. And Dr. Nunez is making help here, but I know that it's probably closer to $20 a drug test now. And so, we got to pay for it somehow. And so I'm asking, do y'all feel a need to broaden the initial test to include varsity athletes as well? So it's open for discussion, and I can field any questions. Dr. Nunez can. Coach Washburn's been involved. Coach Malone has been involved over the years with it. So there we go. So
I have a question. Have
Yes,
you seen better results, like as far as catching kids per se, with doing it the way you're doing it now, or how you were doing it with testing varsity?
That's a good question. Here's what we've not had a strike three in quite a while, and Dr. Nunez can step in there and help me there. So I would have to say we're not catching as many, and that's not our intent. Our intent is for them not to start, and so we've not had. I can't remember the last time we've had a three-strike person who says I'd rather do drugs than be in athletics. So when we just tested varsity athletes, we ran into that, and still not a huge number, but we ran into it more than I'm seeing now. That answered that question. So you're saying why make a change? and we don't have to. I'm just, it has been brought to my attention that maybe it needs to be open for discussion.
Coach, how many varsity athletes are we talking about?
Oh my goodness. That's a big number. And I'm going to say, so a lot of our varsity athletes are multiple sport athletes. So what we typically have done when we did this varsity athletes only, when we first started this, we only tested them one time. So if they are varsity football players and varsity basketball players and a varsity baseball player, they only tested that one time. Other than that, they were put on a random list. So I would throw out a number of 300. And Melinda, you might can step in there, but that is a approximate, very, very approximate number of varsity athletes.
Gotcha.
I would feel the need to do the varsity because at the younger age, freshmen coming in, some kids may not have been exposed yet, but as you go through your high school years, you seem to have more of those drug-related opportunities to experiment or whatever, and they were tested clean as a freshman, but by the time they get to be a senior, lots of things can change, or junior or senior, whichever.
I think you've got a very good point, because here's what they do. They roll the dice, and they know that they're going to be on a random list, but they like those odds. And So as a freshman, they know they're going to be tested one time, and they're very innocent. A lot of those freshmen are still very innocent. And now they're sophomores and juniors and seniors. They're not quite so innocent, and yet there's no guarantee they'll be tested. So I can see a need to have a threat of testing to give them a reason to say, no, I don't think so. I don't think I want to go there. I think an initial test is way more threatening than a random test. So I think we could keep the cost down by simply testing varsity athletes one time that year. And so you still test your freshmen and new students, and now you test varsity athletes and at least once, and then they join the random. I think that would be cost efficient versus saying every sport varsity athletes will test along with everybody. That could get quite costly.
Hey, Coach, I got a question. You know how I feel about this. I've shared it, and I really want varsity tested. I don't know if everyone else sensed or experienced on my end with the initial shutdown in 20, when we were down those 8 weeks. I had some kids who I thought were fine. They were good mentally, emotionally. And when we got back to school last August, it was really scary what I witnessed. And I lost a senior female athlete who was, she'd been a part of the program 7th through 12th grade. And we could tell it was not good. And I had kids go, Coach, pretty sure she's using. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if she'd have known she was coming back and had to be tested? So I'm a big advocate for this, just so everybody knows. So I think we got to give them a reason, like Coach said, to go, hey, I can't do that. I can't use that. I always tell them, use us. Let us be your patsy. Oh, my coach will get me. I can't. And I just watching them go through what they did in the spring and coming back. We had kids kind of lose their way. I mean, I don't know that they knew with this virus, which way was up and what was down and what's tomorrow going to look like. So I witnessed a lot of bad choices there. And I hope that we can at least get varsity tested at least once so they know that's coming. And if we could do that, Coach Dixon, where they know it could be random after that, something to hold them accountable to, maybe they can continue to follow that of, I never know when I'll get tested. And that's something as a coach, I would like to be able to use with my kids, not as an I gotcha, but a reason to say no.
Yep. So currently now, those who are initially tested, they do go to the random list after that. So I would say we would do the same thing if we decided to test varsity athletes one time, then they would just join the random list. So now, just to the history of it, when we made the change years back, we now include a junior high, but we do not initially test the junior high. We just simply random test extracurricular, co-curricular at the junior high. And so the only initial tested students are those currently freshmen or new students at the high school. And so for what that's worth.
Coach, you're not all tested at one, like not all 300 athletes are tested at once. They're tested within the school year, correct? 50 here, 50 there, or is it all at once?
No, that's a good question. And we do it, we scatter it throughout the year, and,
Cool.
and we try to keep it in theme with the seasons of the sports. We have a test coming up here soon that's going to include volleyball and cross country, and football has already taken place. The further we get into the winter, we'll include those winter sports, and in the spring, we'll include the spring sports. And then sprinkled amongst that are random dates as well. Sometimes random testing coincides with the initial testing, but we've learned, we used to have large numbers, and we found that we really don't need large numbers. So that the students don't know. All they know is there's a random chance. So when we do random tests, which we keep those numbers low, and there's several reasons for that. Kids don't need to be out of that classroom, and so when you have a huge field to test, well, it's going to take time, and those kids are going to be out of the classroom. So we've been more efficient by keeping the numbers smaller and just doing it several times throughout the year.
So I have a question.
Okay.
If they play multiple sports, I think you said it a second ago, they only get tested the one time. So like if a football player gets tested during football season, he won't get tested during basketball or baseball season?
He will be initially tested, and then after that, he goes in a random pool. And so he may or may not be tested the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So what we're proposing, sounds like, is we'll continue with the ninth graders to catch them to give them a reason at a young age to say no. We'll include varsity athletes one initial test, and then all extracurricular athletes are in part of a random pool, so they'll have a chance to be tested periodically all year. But varsity or ninth or new students will initially get tested. That keeps the threat of getting caught beyond their freshman year.
Sounds great.
This is a board policy, so it will have to go to the board in order for them to vote on it. So is there any other discussion? Okay, then I believe as a SHAC committee, we also have to vote on it. So if you have access to your actions, could you put a thumbs up or thumbs down based on your vote? I'm going to take a screenshot of my computer and we'll use that as our vote tally.
So you had to go there. I have to find my actions on here. I can do that, but I'll
Well,
try to.
that would be fine too. If you'll do that, if you'll hold it up, I'm going to count to 3. If that's the case, and then I'll take a screenshot. Okay, are we ready? So again, if you can't find your action, hold your thumb up. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much. It looks like everyone did have a thumbs up. Coach Dixon, we do know you have other obligations, so if you need to sign out, we completely understand. Thank you for your presentation.
And thank you, Dr. Nunez. And I will assist in any way you need me to as the SHAC prepares to present this to the board. So just keep me in the loop and I'll help any way I can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next we have our Director of Food Services, which is Mr. Jack Aspinall.
Hey, good afternoon. Wanted to take this time. Each year our SHAC committee has the responsibility to review our wellness policy and plan, and to confirm that the program activities in it are being done, are being completed. If there are any activities that are in question of not being completed or affected due to COVID or some other reasoning, now is the time to update it, and if needed, bring to the board to update the policy. So we have the policy and the plan. So basically, the policy is what is first in our, under the agenda, the Wellness and Health Service Policy, FFA local. And that includes our plan, and where we can find this. Dr. Nunez, if I can get a hold of the computer for a second, I'll take us to alvaradoisd.net.
You have it.
All right, cool. Let's see here. And so when you get to alvaradoisd.net, I find it easy by just going to departments, and you may be able to find it somewhere else, but under child nutrition, we have the Student Health and Advisory Council. So when you,
Have you shared?
there,
Are you screen
You know what?
sharing?
I am, maybe not if you're not seeing it. Hold on one sec.
It should be at the very bottom.
Yep, I got it. Sorry, guys. All right, and share. All right, can you see that now?
Yes.
All right, apologize on that. So I went to alvaradoisd.net under departments, child nutrition, and then to SHAC, Student Health and Advisory Council. And so when you get there, there is all the policies and all the uploads that Dr. Nunez has put on here. And we have the board policy for our, that's the local board policy. This is our actual policy. That's the 3-page saying what our the student welfare, wellness and health services policy is. And then the specifics of it are in the plan, and that's where we'll go to check it out. So let me get out of here. Let's see. All right, and then so the checklist, this is when we do our annual assessment. Actually, this was for the triannual assessment that happened last year in 2020. It was done on February 6th. So this is the checklist that we have to do for the plan itself. But I'm sorry, to get to the actual plan, let me go back, and I'm hoping. And here's the plan. So this is a 5-page document, and basically it has what the goals are and the person responsible for the goals. So what I would like to do, and we went over this, if you've been a part of the SHAC committee, we go over this every year, almost word for word. I'm not going to do that this year. What I would like to do is to have you all, whoever's responsible. So like the campus nurses and the coaches, the PE teachers, go in and look, and just to make sure, for instance, the catch program will be implemented in grades K through 8. I don't know if that's happening or not, just because that's not my expertise. So the way we'll know is with the principals and with teachers, and then with other responsibilities down here. It would be like, I guess, Dr. Nunez herself, all staff. So just to make sure this is done, what I would like to do is reach out between this meeting and next, and have you identify what your responsibilities are, and if it's not, if they are suitable or if they're not suitable, to be completed. So, for instance, myself, a lot of my stuff is up at the top. The district will ensure that the nutritional programs meet USDA and TDA standards. Well, I'm right in the middle of that right now, as we are having our USDA and TDA audit. And that happens every 3 years. And that's that item right there is what compliance is all about. So they're going to be walking through in October to have that, you know, just to make sure that we're meeting we're meeting their expectations to use their money in purchasing food and getting reimbursements for meals. So if, like I said, if I can have the members of the SHAC committee take a look at this, and if there's anything that doesn't seem to be feasible, or if we need to change everything, if we can come back on November 16th, I believe that is the meeting, Dr. Nunez, is that the next SHAC meeting?
That's
November
correct.
16th. You know, between now and then, if we have to update it or anything like that, update our plan. Just because we update the plan doesn't mean we have to bring it to the board to have them update it. But it will, if it's anything, if the policy is affected, that's when it goes to the board. So if it's, you know, we're not able to get X amount of hours of extracurricular activity in for gym, that's when it'll have to go to the board. But if we're, you know, we're not able to go outside because there's a ton of rain versus inside, that can be updated in our plan. So that's what I'd like to do for the 16th. Did I miss anything, Dr. Nunez?
I don't believe you did.
Okay. All right, cool. So once that is, any questions on the wellness plan? All right, great. Lastly, what I'd like to go over is we have a lot of new people on our SHAC committee, and I wanted to show you where our menus are located. If you're outside of the district, or if you're looking to see, heck, if you're just parents and you want to see what's for lunch. I will get out of here, and we have one second. We have a company called NutriSlice that puts our menus online and shows the nutrition from all of our menus. And what's even better is it shows the allergens and all that kind of stuff. So where you go to this, and I'll just type it in right now. It's Alvarado ISD.NutriSlice.com. And once you go there, so you know, allergens is the focal point right now, because it seems like when I was a kid, I didn't know of a lot of kids that had allergies. Now it seems like everybody has allergies, depending on the weather, or you know, it might be allergic to food or special dietary needs. Celiac disease is becoming more prominent, gluten-free, that kind of stuff. So, but you go to alvaradoisd.nutrislice.com, and then it'll show you it'll ask you which menu are you looking for. And so what I'll do is I'll just go to the intermediate menu. You choose between breakfast and lunch. I'll go lunch. Pardon me. And then, all right, so here is September's, and I will scroll down. It has a monthly format. Today is September. I want to say it's the 21st. Yes, 21st. So today's gravy day. So what it has, chicken nuggets. It comes with a dinner roll, corn dog, grilled chicken sandwich, again, turkey chef salad, mashed potatoes and gravy. So it's gravy day. So chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, gravy. It has green beans, and then sorry, the gravy is under the milk and condiments, but it's there. But what it has here, what it also flags it for, is any of the top 8 allergens that are in that dish. So a dinner, pardon me, a dinner roll. It contains milk. It contains wheat. It contains egg, soy, and sesame. Sesame is the newest one that's on there. So it has a little bit of sesame oil in there. So it flashes that. So what you can also do is if you have a gluten allergy or any other allergy, let me get out of here. One second. All right, let me go back in the lunch. So up at the top here, you can flag an allergy that you have. And there's also a nutrition calculator too. So if you're on a 1,000-calorie diet and you don't want your students eating, you know, whatever it may be, if there's junk on there. So sorry guys, one second. I got the pictures of everybody here and it's in my way. I'm trying to move it.
Oh.
I'm sorry. No,
Do I have the pictures in your way?
I don't know if it's you or me. I'm just trying to I'm trying to get rid of it so I can see over here. Operator error, my bad. All right, well, I'm just gonna go up here, Dr. N. Let's see. Bang, there we go. Okay, found it, sorry. All right, so let's see. It's in different languages as well, English and Spanish, and it can translate all the menu items. But I'm not seeing. It's working, sorry about that. So up here with your carb counts, for instance, if you are a diabetic and need carb counts for that day, the only problem is with this is that right now it's a game of roulette for getting food in. There it seems to be, you know, this week it's frozen carrots and bacon that we weren't able to get, right? But we couldn't get dinner rolls before, and they substituted a different dinner roll. So if we're not using our 1.25 ounce whole grain dinner roll right here, garbage in, garbage out. If we're substituted a 1 ounce dinner roll or a 2 ounce dinner roll, then that 14 grams of carbs is 14 grams of carbs is null and void. Because we don't have the right one. So what I try to have our cafeteria managers do is that when there is a substitution, we try to let the principals know ASAP. Hey, we got substituted our hot dog buns. They're not whole grain hot dog buns. They're regular hot dog buns. They should have, you know, and then what we'll do is we can look on the packaging, on the nutrition information, and see how many actual grams of carbs are in that. Are in that hot dog bun that was substituted. So you could print the carb counts out, and this is for the whole week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which is great, which I know help the nurses a ton. And you know, it's a blessing for me because you know, it's nice to have this information right on hand if we get the correct products in. It's getting better. My first order, I had 25% of my order substituted. And we're not talking about nutrition here, but it's hard to get plasticware right now, and it's hard to get foam trays because of the resin. There's not a lot of resin to make these things with. So anyway, long story short, that's what NutriSlice is all about. And it has pictures of the food so that a scholar can see, you know, what looks good, what doesn't look good before they actually have it, especially if they're in pre-K kindergarten, that kind of stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. And can I answer any questions on NutriSlice? All right. Well, then I will go ahead and stop sharing. Dr. Nunez, is there anything that I missed or anything?
I don't don't believe there is. You did a great job.
Right, all right. So let me stop sharing. I think it's back to you.
Okay.
And thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Just to remind those that are just now getting on with us, our SHAC meeting is being recorded. So to continue, under our parent community involvement, we do provide a back to school bash for our students and community members, giving our community members an opportunity to share their service with our families, and then allowing our families to come in and get that information, free school supplies. We also had immunization clinic, and we had a lot of donations accepted for backpacks. So the school did purchase the school supplies under our COVID relief grant, and then all the backpacks were donated from community and businesses. It was our largest turnout. I recall having, in the time that I've actually been keeping numbers, we had 693 students actually turn in their bingo cards, and that's how we monitor those coming in, and then also checking in with our nurses for immunizations to make sure those are current. We had 15 vendors, and we also had the Fort Worth Food Bank, which was a huge success, and brought, if you're familiar with our cafeteria at all, from one end of the stage to the other, of crates of food that they were handing out. And they actually had so much food that our families had to go get their car and drive through the back of the bus lane to load their car. And that was probably even an hour after the bash was over. We still had a line of cars loading food. So we really thank the Fort Worth Food Bank for providing that for us. And I know our families really appreciated it. The last SHAC meeting of our school year, we will talk about the bash for next school year. We've hosted it at our junior high now for several years, which does provide an amazing facility. I do think we'll need to revisit our, I guess, pathway of the bash due to the amount of families that we had. Many of our families were standing in line for over an hour. And so be thinking about that and how we could facilitate the bash in a more timely manner for our parents. I think they enjoy the bash, and obviously the free school supplies is an incentive, but we want it to be an opportunity that they look forward to, and get all of those resources that are going to help them in what our community is offering. Anyone attend the bash that would like to give some feedback? Okay. The next thing I would like to cover is our healthcare services. We are to discuss and review our plans each year, annually. And so I have asked our nurses to help me with this. And Nurse Taylor from our high school is going to go over our diabetic healthcare.
What we talked about earlier was how we use the doctor's orders that we get. And now, most of the time, when you have a diabetic student, they come with a healthcare plan from their doctor, like laid out step by step, what he wants as far as they're concerned. And at that point, we simply just attach it in Skyward under IHP. We make sure that the student has the health condition entered in the computer so that that teacher does see that red H when she gets into Skyward, or he. And then it's also, I know on my campus, I enter it under emergency conditions, emergency alerts, so that as soon as they open the student's information in Skyward, that pops up. they have to acknowledge it before they can go any further in Skyward. The EpiPen, I think we cover in compliance training. It's in there.
If you would like to just go over the bloodborne pathogen.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We do that in compliance training as well. As far as our plan here on the high school campus, most of the time our custodial staff takes care of that. And we'll clean up any bloodborne spills in the main hallways, especially if there are students here. We had a situation a few years ago at, I believe it was Meet the Teacher. And we had a grandparent actually fall. If you've been in our building in the cafeteria area, there's a pit, there's a 2-step down. And she missed it. And so we were able to just, with supplies that I keep here in the office, clean that ourselves. And we have a red trash can where we get rid of our blood.
The biohazard.
Biohazard waste, basically. So,
So
and we
each
changed that
campus-
out.
I'm
sorry.
sorry, each campus does have a spill kit that has the supplies in it necessary to correctly clean a blood spill.
Yes, ma'am, we have one here. Mr. Ransom brought supplies over to clean up blood spills. I believe it was 3 years ago. And also that's available on McGill. They have that that same box of supplies that he brought us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nurse Howard is going to go over the EpiPen plan.
Pretty much we review, we do the EpiPen training as a district on the compliance training, as Nurse Taylor said. And then just a little bit extra, we have the orders that Dr. Beeson signs for us that where we're able to get the EpiPens for our clinics for those students or even educators that don't know that they have an allergy that we would use in an emergency situation. And then just as an extra that I do on my campus, I just keep the trainers from the boxes and go over with my staff. I have a certain set days that they'll swing by and I just let them familiarize themselves with the trainer and show them how it's used because it can be intimidating, and just let them run through it one time and check them off. I do that every school year just so they're familiar. And usually I choose like a staff development day that they're on campus just so they're not scared to use an EpiPen if they had to, like on a field trip or something like that.
Thank you. Can you share with where your EpiPens are located and how that's monitored?
I have them in my clinic because I have a door that is never locked, but they shouldn't ever be locked. I don't know how everybody else keeps theirs, but EpiPen should always be able, I mean, they can be in a cabinet, but they have to get unlocked cabinet and they should be some type of marked cabinet so people know where an EpiPen is located. Whether you have a special EpiPen cabinet like an AED cabinet or you have just a cabinet that's marked EpiPens.
Okay, thank you. Immunization policy. Nurse Howard.
Basically, our immunizations, we just gather from, like if they're new students, we gather them during registration process, and we will get them from the parents. Once the nurses review all of those and get them updated into Skyward, we'll review, run reports, and if they are out of compliance, we will let the parents know, and we'll give those parents, if they're, depending on the stipulations, if they've had one of every shot, then they can go ahead and start school, and they will start just provisionally, and we give them 30 days, 30 school days, which is approaching soon, the 30th. And then after that, they're not able to continue with school until we've got them updated.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions about those four, well, three plans in the policy? Okay, we have a new district RN in our district this year, RN Jennifer Davis. And I'm going to put her on the spot here, but just ask if she could go over the protocols that she has been working with through our district and the positives that we've been receiving.
Hi, everybody. Our plans have kind of been very fluid. We've had to change according to what the state tells us that we have to do and what we want to recommend. We initially did not, we had anyone who, of course, was positive had to stay out for 10 full days. And then what would have been day 11 is the day that they're able to return to campus. However, if they had family members who were positive that lived in even in the same household, we were not requiring if they were negative, but they have family members that were positive, we weren't requiring the students to stay home from school. So we had scholars coming to school and then going home where COVID positive people were and back and forth. And then now the state has actually recommended that we strongly recommend for anybody who is positive at home, but scholars being negative, that they actually stay home and quarantine. So while we can't force them, if they give us a lot of pushback, we are very strongly encouraging that they stay home. Also, initially, we were requiring a doctor's note for return for everybody across the board. We have since revised our policy just a little bit after a board approval. This is very recent. Where we are requiring doctor's notes of anyone who is required or who is a part of any UIL sanctioned activities or events, athletics. Those people have to have a doctor's note. That is UIL rules, not our rules. But everyone else was having so much trouble getting into clinics, getting into see physicians at all, anywhere. To even get, a note from them. And some could get in and the doctor or could get through with a phone call and the doctor was just flat refusing to give them a note because they would say things like, well, it's COVID. You already know you have to stay home. Everybody should know that. So we were having a lot of issues with parents being able to access the doctor's notes that we were requiring. So we did make that suggestion and board approved that. So we are now only requiring doctor's notes upon return for UIL sanctioned activities and events. We are still doing the 10 full days out. And then what would have been day 11 come back. We've had a lot of, I know at junior high, we were red for a very long time. And high school also was hit we were both hit pretty hard in the very beginning. But we've done a lot better with that. And we're seeing kids come back and it's been nice. We've really super long, I can't do it in the screen because it's not big enough, but super long list of names. And as they come back, we have a little celebration every time we get to check off of the chart. But I think that our policies have been really good. We've just had to go with the flow as everybody does during COVID, because you just don't, you have no control. I mean, we have only so much control over what we choose to require. We have to follow instructions of what we're told to do. So there's been a little bit of pushback here and there, but I think for the most part, everybody and community-wide is understanding of the fact that, everybody kind of has a set of rules that we have to follow. Was there anything other than that specific that you wanted me to address?
That was amazing. Thank you. Because I did put Nurse Davis on the spot. I did. I do want to reiterate, she talked about a color. The campus was coded red. We did go to the color scheme, and it is a dashboard on our main website where our community and families and even our scholars can look to see what the numbers are as recorded positives on each campus, including our district departments. So that is 0 to 2% of the population of that campus. So what is the enrollment, including the educators of a campus? If there is 0 to 2% positive, then it would be a green. 3 to 5 is a yellow, and above 5% then would show red. And you can see on our dashboard that there are restrictions per color. And so this has helped our administration as well to inform parents, say, for example, that want to come and eat lunch on the campus. If they are in a yellow zone, then they are not allowing visitors to come on the campus for lunch. But once that campus is green, that 0 to 2%, then parents are welcome to come in and have lunch with their scholar. So again, I encourage you to watch the dashboard on our website, and Mr. Brown, our public resource officer, is keeping up with that. He updates it every night at 7 o'clock. And so if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to email or call him.
He also does a really good job of helping us celebrate also. We were red for so long, and then we went yellow. We got a little excited about that. But when we went green, I think we were very, very surprised. Everybody was surprised. And he showed up with green drinks and Sonic and green candy and all kinds of stuff, because it was just such a huge thing to go from red all the way to green. So we're very excited over here at the junior high.
Yes. With Nurse Davis being new to an actual school clinic, our interview did not lead to her campus being the hardest hit first. So
Yeah.
She definitely was thrown in by fire. Okay, any questions about COVID or our current COVID protocols? Okay, the next item on the agenda is under physical education. And so just to let our PE teachers know that your area is actually up for a textbook adoption this year. We, as a district, actually through the state, have scheduled adoptions. And this year is Proclamation 2021, meaning it ends our school year. Actually, I have that wrong. I apologize. It should say Proclamation 2022. It ends the school year of the year that the adoption is selected. And so this proclamation is targeting health and physical education. I do know we use Catch for K through 8, but I am going to work with the PE teachers in looking at this curriculum. You can see the courses that it is going to identify. It's health grades K5, 6, 7, 8, and then high school is going to be the health 1 and health 2. It's also for PE grades K5. It doesn't mean we have to purchase any adoption that is presented to the district, but it does give the district an opportunity to review and select additional instructional materials to use with our scholars in those areas. So, for example, this last year was pre-kindergarten. They had the opportunity of the adoption. So again, I will be reaching out to the PE teachers, but at this time, do any of you have any questions? Okay. So the last thing just to share, as I had noted at the very beginning, one of our responsibilities is to meet 4 times. Here are the set dates for the upcoming SHAC meetings. I Last year, put them on different days of the week, and I felt like that got a little confusing. So this year I left them all on Tuesdays. Tuesday, November 16th, March 22nd, and May 17th. They will all begin at 1:30, and location is to be determined, meaning if we can meet face-to-face due to our COVID dashboard, we will meet here at the administration building in our boardroom. And so I will be sending reminders out way before our next meeting, along with the meeting minutes from this meeting, and then also information in how the presentation to our school board pending the drug testing program was received and voted on. So as a closure, are there any questions or concerns with anything discussed today and or in the future that you would like to see on a SHAC agenda before I end our recording? Okay, well, I would like to thank you again for participating. I know it's difficult by Zoom, maybe more convenient than not, just because you're in your location and you don't have to travel. But if there's anything that does come up between now and our next meeting, please don't hesitate to email me and I will find answers for you, or definitely put it on the agenda for the next meeting. So thank you again and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.